pretty fucking huge, dude, to be fair. Pretty fucking huge.
Sorry?
You're pretty huge now. What are you, like 92, 93?
No, 88.
Oh, yeah. But that's
No,
so
I'm
huge if you're
lean
fucking...
and fat. I might get feet, you know?
See all these guys out here, man, talking about how they're... Okay, turn that shit off for your podcast. Please. Like, all these guys out here talking about how they're jacked and stuff. They're like, legit, like 25% body fat, 105, 106 kilos. It's like, bro, like, you need to be lean as well, you know what I'm saying? You can't just walk around here, like, massively overweight, but, yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, these dudes, like, especially like the powerlifters, are just fat as fuck. Like.
That's very true. How was your day, man? Shit, I was looking at that OnlyFans thing, man. I was like, oh my god, we're actually doomed. Society is doomed. I think once can I share my screen?
Sorry?
I think I can share my screen. 1 second. Oh, here we go.
Bro, I was having mad like rants last night about all this shit. Like I got all these crazy videos.
Did you go on dates with any of those chicks and it was just like, this is not happening this year?
What?
You go on any of the dates with those chicks like
don't get me started. Like
reality, you're
these
like,
chicks are so gassed. You know what it is? Like if you're a chick on Tinder and you're getting like hundreds of swipes and you're hundreds of messages, like obviously you're gonna be like, you know, you're gonna be like having an inflated ego. You know what I mean?
This girl was saying she makes $500,000 a year from OnlyFans, and I was like, bro, this is literally guys paying for. I would never pay for fucking OnlyFans. Could you imagine, dude? There's like 90% of the internet's porno movies. Like, how the hell would you pay to fucking watch OnlyFans?
You know what it is? It's actually so sad. It's like the substitution of a relationship because Western society is broken down so much and we don't have families and no one has kids anymore. You have all these guys like with loads of money, like all these programmers, tech dorks and stuff, who have all this money to spend on like just giving to these girls. And it's almost like a substitute relationship. You know, like how guys have a natural inclination to want to like provide for their girlfriend or whatever, or their wife. That's literally what it is. And it's online and it's just bullshit. And it's just, there's nothing comes with it because you can't have kids and like it's not an actual relationship. So just the complete breakdown of society. We are so fucked. Like,
yeah, bro, that shit is crazy. And like the thing is, like, the thing about it is like there's no real like one guy had, actually, forget about that. One guy had a comment and he was like, if you want to get a girlfriend, stop jerking off. Within 3 days, you'll have a girlfriend. I actually agree with that, bro. Like, all these dudes, man, you see, the thing is, man, everything in life, and this is going to be a motivational podcast for people, everything in life is just people taking the easy route. They want to get shredded. They want to get big. They take steroids. They want to get shredded. They take steroids. They take this. They take a pill. It's like, bro, whatever happened to just like grinding for years? Like, I grinded on YouTube for nearly 2 years and I made a full-time living. I know it's only the welfare kind of thing, but like that's pretty respectful when you think about like I could have just like sold cock pics online, or like remember that you had guys asking you to like do bodybuild, like show like bodybuilding pictures of you, like and sell your body basically. Like it's the same for guys. Like gay guys were asking you. I don't know if it was they were gay though, right? Asking you for pictures to jerk off on camera, which is basically the same as OnlyFans. Like we basically got to a stage as well of like anything you do on camera is just acceptable now. Dude, 5 years ago, that shit was just like not even like, it was so taboo.
When you think of when Facebook first came out, like in 2008 or whenever it was, compare how girls would post pictures and stuff then compared to now. Like every single girl is halfway a porn star nowadays.
Yeah, facts,
like
facts.
These are supposed to be the mothers of our children going into the future. Man, the West is so fucked. Like, I mean, I could get really deep into this shit, but I mean,
go for it, man. This is the podcast, bro. This is the County Gains Corner, County Gains Chats Corner, chill chats. I tried to get Steve on there, Sensei Steve. I added his YouTube channel to my channel for anyone that wants to check out his gaming reactions. We're trying to get everyone on the shit, and also I'll be posting Murphy's rants on Shredder's rants on my YouTube channel as well. If you ever want to post any rants or anything like that, Murphy, just send me the videos and I'll just upload them. It'll be sick.
bro. I don't want to get you cancelled off YouTube. My thoughts.
You're gonna be like, you're gonna be like, was the Holocaust real or not? Yay or nay? I'm gonna say yay.
Bro, don't even use those words. What are you trying to get us fucking killed out here? Like, no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about like with relationships and stuff and how it's gone. Like, even when you think back to the fact that like very, very recently and throughout all of history, pretty much, a girl like would just get married when she was like 18 or 20 or whatever, and she would just be with a guy and they'd just have kids and they'd have a family. And that was completely normal. Right now, look at girls nowadays. Like you got these girls like that they're doing OnlyFans, doing porn, doing all this stuff and chasing careers and all this stuff. And then they're like 35 and they don't have any kids. And like they're like, I mean, and then we have no kids in the West. That's the other thing. Because
it's a pretty dead society, to be honest with you. Like I feel like
you want a family. That's what I'm really trying to say. Think of like we used to have these huge families. Remember, like back in the day when you'd have like 10 cousins and
15
now in the West, like who has families? There's no families around.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like I don't have any friends and I'm 27. What age are you, Murph?
26.
Yeah, so like I watch these like podcasts. I'm like, yo, these chicks are like 27, like 30, 35, 40, 45. There's one girl and she's 55. She's like Asian. They all look like legit 20. It's crazy, right? Asian don't raisin. That's what she was saying. It's like the shit is pretty crazy. Like when you take into effect that like, bro, to be honest with you, like what's gonna happen is like everyone's just gonna make OnlyFans eventually and then just like make a ton of money in like a really short period of time and then just like hop off it. And dude, let's be honest, like obviously like we're the big dicks out in this pond, you know what I'm saying? Like we're the big sharks banging all the bitches and shit. But you got these guys on these OnlyFans that are like incels, and it's just like, bro, all these guys are just like mad incels. And then in America, they have guns, so they go around shooting people. What does it turn into on the internet, man? Because we like live on the internet. I live on the internet. Like when you get incel guys, it just turns into like absolute chaos on the internet. Like it's just crazy.
This is literally like the destruction of society. West is falling apart in some ways. And I'm telling you why. And Tate talked about this, and he was exactly right. You know, the idea of marriage. I'm not even a big fan of marriage. Because like personally, I wouldn't want to be tied down to marriage. But in the olden days, it used to be like you get a wife, you'd have your wife for life, and pretty much everyone was married, right? Yeah. Nowadays, because we've removed all that kind of religious stuff and all those kind of traditions, we've reverted back to like our animal instinct. And the animal instinct is like kind of like gorillas or something, where all the chicks go for the top guys, right? Right?
Right.
Yeah, all the chicks go for the top guys, right? And so that leaves this huge portion of incels, right? But here's the thing. Here's what Tate was saying. Incels are the guys that are going to destroy society. Because when you don't have a stake in society, when you don't have your wife that you go home to and your family and kids and all that, those are the people who then want to flip the chessboard and cause the revolutions and cause the chaos in society. So like the fact that we've removed that kind of thing of marriage where everyone has a wife and we're going back to our animal nature where all the top guys are fucking all the chicks. The guys at the bottom are getting no chicks. Those are the guys that are going to go just destroy society. I mean,
we used to know a few, you know what I mean? We used to know.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, do you know what I'm trying to say though?
Like the thing as well is like people nowadays as well, like even if you see the people that go when you go on nights out, I'm gonna go on a night out tomorrow and I'm gonna go on a few nights out with my friend when he comes over from England. And you see the guys are like getting with chicks and stuff like that. And it's not even guys, they try and incentivize like if you go to the gym and like you have a business and you work really hard and stuff like that, it's almost like those guys aren't even incentivized anymore. It's like the guys are like kind of like in good shape that go out a shitload. If you go out like 10 days a week and like you're basically you just take loads of drugs and like drink a shitload, it's basically those guys that are gonna be banging the chicks. And then the guys that are actually trying to like do some shit, like, you know what I mean? Because like obviously like when I was more of a degenerate back in college and shit like that, like you're just like, you know, talking to more people, you're going out more, you're getting with more people. Now it's like I'm actually trying to do stuff like you do see like maybe some people coming at you, but it's not even like incentivized. Like you don't even want to as a guy. Like this is just so fucking just like it's just not even like fun anymore. It's just like completely just like fucked up. Remember Tate was talking about that. He said like that the maybe he's getting old and stuff like that, but a lot of the degenerate behavior is just like crazy. Like I was watching that whatever OnlyFans thing with those OnlyFans chicks, and that shit, bro, I can't get over. That's crazy. Like, it's like 4 hours long, just on some crazy type shit. Like,
Yeah, bro, man, it is degenerate. Like, and I'm starting to see this shit too now. I think when you get older and you get more experience and you kind of mature a bit more, you start to like kind of see some of the problems with these things. And like degeneracy, what is degeneracy? Degeneracy is what makes society weaker, essentially.
yeah.
And so all this degenerate shit that's going on, it's just it's destroyed society. Like it's destroyed the family unit, in my opinion. Even if you can we get like really controversial here, like
yeah,
oh, no,
just to be honest with you, it's fine. Like I don't really
but yeah, like just all this degenerate behavior, like the way that people are raised in the West, the hookup culture, like the fact that people don't have families or any of this, like it's
like
just it's degenerating society. But you know what? You know the thing is actually we have in every Western like liberal, atheist, secular country, we have below replacement birth rates, right?
Yeah, Elon Musk was talking about that, right?
Yeah. So we have below replacement birth rates, but right, we have this capitalist system, right? Steve's gonna like this one, right? So we have this capitalist system that relies on constant growth in order for it to function. So we need GDP numbers to go up. We need there to be more demand for housing, for house prices to go up for the owners of the houses. We need more consumers for Tesco, etc. So we need more people. So what do they end up doing? They end up importing like in a lot of cases Muslims and Africans and stuff. And Muslims, here's the thing about Muslims. Muslims are super conservative people, right? They're really religious people, right? So they stick to the rules of their religion, and the rules of the religion means that they have loads of kids, right? So all these atheist liberal Westerners are having no kids, and because we have this capitalist machine that needs constant growth, they import Muslims. Muslims have loads of kids, so in a matter of few generations in countries like England, these are going to be conservative religious countries anyways. So this entire idea of this liberal order that we have now, like I think it's going to inevitably fail because
dude, it's crazy.
I always say this to my brother, liberalism sets the stage for its own destruction, because when you don't believe in anything, you open the door for an organized group like Muslims or like fascists or like Marxists or whatever to come in and assert their ideology. So I think in countries like England and stuff, they're going to be conservative religious countries again in the matter of time. This shit's just cyclical, if you get what I'm trying to say.
I was like watching the thing that was happening in like East Wall. Do you know that thing that's like happening in Dublin? It's like this like protest where they're bringing in loads of like refugees and stuff. Bro, I actually agree with Jesse Ventura. I have a crazy idea on this. I actually think there should be like no borders, so you can just go everywhere, right? Because the thing about it is, right, I almost feel like, or unless like nobody can go anywhere, like not even on holidays, because I actually think that, man, the way shit is, like when I went to go to the US and Canada, I had so many checks. They like take my picture, they took my fingerprints, they scanned my fucking body, they took fucking dick size pics, they took all this crazy shit, right? I was like properly like scanned, like crazy scan. And then like I can't just go to the US and immigrate. Like, whereas like in anywhere else in the world now, if you say like you're from a poverty-stricken place, you can just like move somewhere else. And like I don't agree or disagree with that. Obviously, like if you're in a shit situation like a war or some shit, like you're probably gonna be like, okay, let's like try and get out of here, right? But it's like at a certain point, like you kind of have to be like, yo, like are we just gonna like, you kind of as a guy, I'd be like, yo, like let's say England invaded us. Like we would probably say, yo, we have to fight them. We're probably gonna die, right? I don't think like most Irish people would be like, oh, let's like immigrate. I think most of us would be like, we're just gonna die here, like, do you know what I mean? Our population, because remember they were saying, I remember Steve was saying, we were saying something recently, like at a certain point, like, because even in Ukraine and shit like that, like they have to like fight because like if they don't fight, like it was like the Nazi Germany after the Nazis, and like they knew like Ireland was actually so bad. You know, Steve was saying that we were like worse. We were actually like siding with the Nazis because we were like neutral. But actually, we were like we like signed condolences like to the Nazis when Hitler died. Like we wrote, like Eben Hitler wrote in the book, like,
That's
oh, sorry.
because the Nazis were against the English.
Yeah, but like but like, dude, the shit the Nazis were like, and like we were for the fucking Nazis. I was like, yeah, that's because we were actually like almost siding, and then like the Americans were always like, yeah, why did you guys like write condolences to Hitler and this kind of crazy shit? And I was like, yeah, that's true. Like, why is Ireland so like neutral? It's like this fucking like almost like it's worse than like a deserter. It's almost like we're like, you know what I mean? We're like siding with the fucking evil almost. Like because here's the thing. Like if the Nazis just kept going and whatever, they didn't get stopped, they'd eventually just kill everyone anyway. So like you have to eventually fight. Like if Ukraine doesn't want to fight, I don't understand like the people that are like, oh, let's like leave and like let them take over. It's kind of like, they have to eventually like, just go.
I don't know, man. I think World War II is a lot more complicated than that because it's portrayed as like, and this I'm gonna get us cancelled right now. But it's portrayed as like good guys versus bad guys, right? That's kind of how it's portrayed in movies and stuff. But when you look at the reality of it, the main part of World War II was fascist Nazi Germany against communist Russia. But you look at the communists in 1932, the communists deliberately starved like 5 million Ukrainians. So they've committed a Holocaust. They killed millions of people in their country. They executed millions of people. They caused these famines and stuff. So it was a fight between the evil Nazis and the evil communists. So the idea that there's like a good and a bad guy, I don't think really necessarily.
Dude, I was even saying there, like, because like Putin's like threatening nuclear weapons. Man, the Americans, like, they kind of drew first blood. They were like, oh, we're gonna set the precedents, like, we're gonna drop the bombs here. And then like that kind of showed everyone else, oh, we can use nuclear weapons as well. But America was like, oh no, we actually don't want that. So the US led stuff isn't always great. I know a lot of people say, oh, America's the best place ever. It's always like, let's follow them, but it's not always the best one. Like the nuclear weapons thing, like, I still like,
America's the worst. What do you think of the Ukraine war? Because I think America caused that.
I mean, dude, they like send like a bunch of, it's like a proxy war. I was watching this thing today. It was called like the new, did you ever see it? I'm actually doing a reaction to it now. It's called the New Liberal World Order. Have you ever seen that video on YouTube?
I haven't.
You probably know about it, but it's just like after 1945, like the way like America like rules the world now, basically. Like they're trying to like get every country into like peaceful and this kind of thing. Like it's kind of slowly collapsing the new world, the new liberal world order. But like they were saying in that video that that every war is like a proxy war fought between America and Russia now. Like every single war, even Ukraine. Like, dude, America's giving like legit billions of like euros and dollars to like funding like the military. It's crazy.
Dude, look at the Syrian war. The Syrian war was the Russians backing Assad and the Americans backing the anti-Assad. Well, here's the thing. Here's the reason why I say that the Ukraine war is America's fault. Because when you look at the policy that America has taken over the last few decades, it's regime change. When they don't like a person in charge, they get rid of them. Saddam Hussein, the Gaddafi, they did it all throughout South America. So that is continually, if they don't like a leader, they get rid of them. And one of the way they get rid of them is they can come in and they can use force, like with Saddam Hussein. But also what they do is do these funded coups, like these revolutions and stuff. They've done this all throughout South America. And in 2014 in Ukraine, you had a democratically elected leader, Yanukovych, who was kind of a more pro-Russian kind of guy. And then there was this mysterious revolution in Ukraine where the CIA were in Ukraine. So there was this mysterious revolution where a load of strange things happened, and they called it the Revolution of Dignity, which is propaganda, right? And Yanukovych was chased out of the country. And so the new government that was put in illegally against the constitution of Ukraine. And that's the Zelensky government. So the theory is that basically Americans they didn't like Yanukovych because Yanukovych was more siding towards Russia. So their usual tactics of regime change, they got rid of Yanukovych, they put in Zelensky, who Zelensky is more pro-America. And Putin said they're trying to steal Ukraine from right under our nose. Ukraine, bear in mind, is a country that was part of Russian control for like decades and decades and decades under the Soviet Union and stuff. So they're like, the CIA are here trying to fucking literally take this country and join it into NATO and take it from us. And so they basically provoked Russia into starting the war. And that's not to defend Russia's actions in going into the war or anything. But it's America that's constantly doing this stuff.
For sure,
constantly with everyone's affairs all across the globe.
Everyone was saying that, so, like they were saying that in the video, say like that it is crazy. But let's talk about the whole Kanye West thing. You see, he got blocked off everything. Like he got blocked off like Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. What do you think of that? Do you I don't even like Kanye West's music so much. I know you love Kanye West's music. You know, Mr. Kanye.
I've loved Kanye West's music for years, and I know exactly what Kanye is doing. I think it's very high IQ stuff.
Well, what's he doing? He loves Hitler, so give it to us.
So basically what he's doing, it's actually a left-wing tactic. What the left will do, right? They'll say the most extreme shit possible, right? So then by the time they say what they actually want, it doesn't sound too crazy, right? Do you get what I mean? So this is kind of like the art of the negotiation. You ask for way more than you want. So then by the time you get what you want, you know, it seems like a bargain, right? So I think he's saying the most extreme shit you could possibly say. So now when we come and we try to have reasonable conversations about all these different things that we've been told that we're not allowed to talk about, that's kind of like, that's normal compared to what he did. So, and also he's basically single-handedly destroying cancel culture, because if the most famous man in the world can sit there and say, I love, then I mean, cancel culture is kind of like fucked, you know?
Has he said that? Did he say that on Alex Jones, or was he kind of just like trolling or like trying to trigger a response from people or whatever? About the whole Hitler stuff and Nazi stuff.
Well, he was saying like, he said, I love everyone. I love Jeffrey Dahmer. I love Zionists. I love Hitler. I love Nazis and all this kind of stuff. So he was saying he loved everyone. But like, he's trying to say the most extreme shit. He's doing what the left did. Let me tell you something, man. When Obama was president, which was quite recent, right? He was against gay marriage, right? So that recently, a Democrat president was against gay marriage. Now we have trans male athletes setting world records in sport. We
Great
have
records,
children.
I must say. One of the records.
We have. Sorry?
What are the records?
Like, you know, in the sprinting and stuff, you have these men who transition to him.
The swimmer.
Do you know Leah?
That swimmer guy, he was 6 foot, a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, do you know Leah Thomas? The swimmer.
Yeah.
So she was a man. She was a shitty male swimmer. She converted to female, and she smoked the females. I think she set a record.
That's the idea is like that psyops. That's almost like a tactic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but think about this. We went from Obama not being for gay marriage to Leah Thomas setting world records against women. So think of how far things have come. And so that's kind of the tactic that the left uses. Like, they'll say the most extreme thing possible, and then suddenly the little extreme thing doesn't sound that extreme, and they move it step by step by step. So I think, have you ever heard of the Overton window? The Overton window is basically the set of things that's acceptable to say in public society. That's the Overton window, right? What Kanye is trying to do is he's trying to shift the Overton window into a more normal point, because right now it's in an insane point. Right now you can't say the truth about anything, and you have to say all these lies. You have to say the 6'4" bearded woman that destroyed all the women in swimming, that's fair. Like, it's insane. So he's trying.
That's as fair as it gets, man. I'm gonna take loads of steroids, hormone replacement, and then become a swimmer, like in South Park when Cartman becomes like remember he like competes in the Olympics as like a female or something, or like disabled, and then Kate's over here. I'm gonna show her. She's over here shaking her ass on the camera, but remember he like just got destroyed by all the Olympics. Yeah, it is kind of crazy. Like, to be honest, like that when I saw that Kanye West thing, I was like, he's obviously up to something. He's probably trying to do something, but I love to see what people say about him.
Bro, he's destroying cancel culture in real time. This is it. Cancel culture is finished, man.
Well, who's who that's like a sponsor. I was listening to a podcast and they said that cancel culture is like more of a sponsorship thing. It's like if you have like sponsorships and then you say something negative, then they take away your sponsorships. Right? But if you don't have sponsorships, if you're like super wealthy without it, no more. If you're super
No,
wealthy without it.
dude, think about this. They've always told us that in the West we have freedom and we have free speech and we have all this stuff. You
Yeah.
don't have free speech in the West, because if you say anything that goes against the norm, even if it's reasonable stuff, because we live in such a crazy world, you risk getting fired from your job if you're a regular person. If when you look at Kanye, he loses his banks, you risk your money getting frozen. So we have any type of free speech. We essentially have a social credit score in the West as it is. And so, like, I mean,
do you think if you do something that's like, let's say, right wing guy, we actually know a guy from our local area, and he got fired from his job because he was like at all those Dublin right wing, well, conservative rallies or whatever. It's like, whatever. Do you think that they should get fired for that, or not? Obviously.
well, I mean, it depends what they're doing. Like, if they're engaged in non-violent political activity, then I think when we get to a point where we're like judging what is the correct or incorrect way for people to think, like if he's coming out and he's inciting violence and he's saying things like, we have to come after this group, yeah, okay, we fire him because he's breaking the rules. But if he's coming out,
but yeah, if he doesn't, sorry to interrupt, go on.
But if he's coming out and he just has opinions, like he's saying that we have too much of immigration from this particular part of the world or something like that, I mean, that's an opinion you should be allowed to have without your entire livelihood being risked. So that's why we don't have free speech in the West.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, like, he didn't go to jail or like, I understand if a guy commits a crime, right? And like you do some crazy shit, selling mass amounts of fucking drugs or some crazy shit, which I mean, if it's like weed, it doesn't really count to me personally. Or let's say it's some crazy shit, like you're selling like fentanyl or some to kill people or whatever. Or like you're transporting guns, all this kind of crazy shit, like RICO type activity. Like then, yeah, maybe you should be like told, hey, like this guy was like convicted of crimes like murder or like sexual assault of like whatever crazy shit. Then yeah, you should obviously be reprimanded. But if you don't actually have like if you don't have like, you know, crimes on your name, if you don't have like a rap sheet, you know what I mean? If you don't have like jail time and stuff, I don't think you should be like, the guy should just be able to speak what he wants, no matter how crazy it is. I really don't give a shit. Like if a guy says, yo, Chris, your channel sucks, I hope you friggin' die, which, I mean, I don't get hate like that bad or anything like that, but it's just like, if people say that shit, I'm like, I don't really give a shit. I start laughing. I tell Steve, we have a laugh. I tell you, we have a laugh about it. I think that you should be able to say what you want, but nowadays it's like you just can't even say really what you want. But then again, like if someone's saying some like crazy like racist shit, and like other people like trying to like rally against or rally with that guy, you know what I mean? Kind of like how it, you know, should that guy be allowed to free speech? I mean, I think you should be able to say whatever, no matter how crazy.
Okay,
but you gotta deal with the consequences.
Well, let me respond to that, because you've actually made a few points I want to respond to there. So you're saying if a guy has free speech, there's the danger that he's going to rally people to a particular dangerous viewpoint. Well, the first thing I'd say,
I don't think so. I just think that's what people would say to you, like, oh, you have to, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but what I'd say to that is that you're going to have a far more dangerous society if you have people who tell other people what they can and can't say. Because listen, I'm a full-grown man. I should be allowed to have my opinion and speak my opinion. Why would I want to say that I want a man above me who can determine what I can and can't say? And when you do that, when you live in a world where you restrict free speech, and consider the world we live in now, we live in a world where it's normal for 6'4" Leah Thomas to set world records in the trans swimming. It's normal for kids to get transition surgeries where they're not then able to have kids in the future when they're like 15 years old. So we have all this insane shit. And we want to live in a society there where we're going to say that we're going to have people who are going to be the arbiters of what you're allowed to say. And you think that's safe? That's way more dangerous than having guys out there speaking their opinion on things. Because the way that you get to the truth and you get to a society that actually functions is you have argument back and forth. And as Tate said, the truth is usually somewhere in the middle. So someone makes a good argument here, someone makes a good argument there, and you come to the truth. But when you're censoring one side of that, then you end up in the clown world that we're in, where we have all this insane stuff and we have our society denigrating and all this. And then the other thing I'd say as well to that as well, if you have a guy able to speak and his speaking is able to rally people into a dangerous mob, you've got serious problems with your society and you need to fix those problems.
That's a good point.
Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
That's what happened with Hitler and stuff. But the reason it happened with Hitler and stuff was because Germany was completely fucked and everyone lost all their money and they were being invaded by the French and stuff. So, I mean, so I think it's more dangerous to restrict free speech. And also, as I was saying to Steve, who is the deciders of what's the correct speech? Like, who are these gods, these priests to determine what we can and can't say?
The local bishop, like, he decides who you can and cannot talk about. Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy. Like, I really don't even understand it myself. It's so mind-boggling the way shit is nowadays. Like, but is there anything else in the news that we wanted to talk about? Do you want to say something?
Bro, I want to actually talk to you if you have time. Do you have time?
Oh, we want to talk about hard work and shit like that. Didn't we want to motivate the people?
Oh,
I got the time.
We can talk about that if you want, but I want to talk about something.
We'll talk about it after. Go on, yeah.
I want to. Do you know the way Tate's converted to Islam now, and he says he's Islamic? What do you think about God? Are you an atheist? Are you agnostic? Are you religious?
Dude, mashallah, I subscribe to the highest. No, I don't really believe in God or anything like that personally. I think that there's like a karmic debt. I think that we have, maybe I think that when you die, you probably come back as something else, maybe like a little caterpillar if you were not nice. Maybe you come back as a lion if you're a good guy, some shit like that. But even if it doesn't happen, I think our consciousness probably goes somewhere else. I don't think maybe we stay forever. But if not, it's all good too. I'm not really fretting too much over about that. A lot of people like fret about death, and like I saw Bradley Martin on the podcast, like, oh, like, I'm so afraid of dying. It's like, big dog, like, why you're like 28, 29, like, you die when you're like 78, 80, something, maybe might not live that long, but it's like, you might as well try and live in the moment and like be as healthy, try to, be as good as possible rather than worrying about dying and shit. It just doesn't really make any sense. But Tate convert. I think he said he only converted when he's in Muslim countries. He's not like he's not a Muslim when he's like back in Romania. He's like,
he says he likes religious, but he says he likes religious countries. So you consider yourself an atheist then?
Yeah, probably.
And would you want to live in a religious society, or would you want to live in like an atheist secular society?
Well, technically we live in a very religious, like in Ireland, we're super religious.
Oh no, I'd consider this an atheist secular society because, like, yeah, I'd say so, because
the people in charge definitely are like super Christian and shit like that. No.
Oh no, man, Leo Varadkar and all them, they're all atheists. They're all.
But like, what about? Doesn't like the church, like, remember, like, we learned in school that like the church were like some of the most powerful like lobbyists and shit like that. Like, dude, we only had condoms in 1995 were banned. Like, we didn't even have the pill till like 2003 or some shit like that. Like, that's super that's super religious. Maybe not anymore though. I get what you're saying. In 2023,
like 15 years ago, right. 15, 20 years ago, when we had to do prayers in school and stuff, I'd agree with you. It was a religious society. Now it's a completely atheist society.
I don't really like it though, because all the priests all the priests were fucking kids. And my dad was saying the last day he went to the fucking church, and he was like, bro, the church was like half full. And I was like, Dad, like, you know why? And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I don't want to get into it, but like, because it's just so disgusting. But the church is like, it's coming out heavy now. People are like suing them, they're going crazy because of all the crimes they committed back in the day, so like, yeah, I don't know.
Do you know what? Here's the thing, man. Big institutions, no matter what they are, become corrupt. Right? And I also think that because priests don't have wives, I think, oh no, I actually can't. I'll get us cancelled. I can't say that.
No, but you're right though. I know what you're gonna say, like, because they don't have wives, like they just like target.
No, yeah. What I'm saying, because they don't have wives, they enter the priesthood, and that gives them basically the excuse to they don't have a wife because they're interested in kids, and so they molest the kids. Well, I think that's the Catholic Church, and that's an institution, and that's corrupt. But would you rather live in a religious society or a non-religious society?
Dude, even well, I lived in a very I was born in the UAE, like, and it was very like that was obviously super religious, called to prayer 5 times a day. I remember waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, called to prayer, and that was great. I thought it was great. Now, I personally wouldn't do the religion.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me say, would you rather live in a society kind of like that has a religion, like maybe a Poland, versus like an Ireland, which I consider an atheist country? Not leaving Muslim aside, because Muslim is a different religion to what
Yeah.
we know.
Okay. Probably probably Eastern Europe. I'd probably rather live like in the Eastern European place than probably. Well, I don't know though. Actually, I'm
Yeah,
not sure. Like, I'm not sure. Yeah, probably, but it's just like
because
in terms of
I was
social issues.
having.
You mean in social issues? Because obviously they're poor as fuck over there. So I'd rather live
Yeah,
here.
yeah. I mean the foundations of
Yeah.
society in terms of like families and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
I feel like those countries, they have strong families, they have a very low crime, they have an upward trajectory. I feel
They
like
have
the
super low
Western
crime.
yeah.
Super
But
low crime.
I had these crazy theories on God that I was coming up with yesterday. Just because like I was always massively against religion, massively against God. Like I was like
Mm.
the first atheist in primary school pointing at all the shit in the religion. But I think I have a different definition of God nowadays.
Mm.
Um and
YouTube is my god and my ruler. Suzanne Wojcik, she's my god.
yeah, yeah.
It's funny because
But
it's
no,
funny
I
because my
think
it's funny because my dad, he says like to me all the time, he's like, "Yo, are you going to the gym again?" I was like, "I'm going to the gym again, and I'm gonna pump these guns up." And then he goes, "Oh, the gym is like your religion now," and I was like, "I guess it is," because I've never gone to church ever. Like, he was like, "The gym is your religion." And I was like, "That's true," because people have like right wing issues as their religion now. People have like politics as their religion. Like, do you think there's like different religions nowadays? So there's like,
bro, we're running out of time. We're running
ah,
out of
don't worry.
time on this call.
We'll just
Will we hang up and recall? Because I got
yeah,
so
we'll
much
do.
shit to say, unless
All
you
right,
gotta
yeah, let's
go.
do. Yeah, let's do. No, no, no. One sec. I was on a roll there. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I was on a roll there, like just basically talking about like religion nowadays. Religion nowadays is just like people like even YouTube and the internet. Internet's like a religion. People are just so obsessed with like different things. It's kind of religion is kind of a thing that they use to like keep people from doing committing crimes and keep people that maybe are poor and stuff. You know, like oh, there's an afterlife and like the afterlife will be better. And it's like nah, the afterlife probably is like just as good as just a regular life, or maybe just turn into another person. I've heard
But
stories that like
do you not feel like the plebs need a guideline on how to live their life? Because the world is so complex. Unless you're a really intelligent person to actually figure out what's the correct way to live your life is
bro,
quite difficult.
I'll tell you the correct way to live your life, right? Hit the gym, bang bitches, work on your purpose. Only three things in life should matter, like gym, bitches, and purpose.
What about having a family, for example? What about having kids?
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Because you need kids to sustain your society. Like if you,
Mm,
it depends on your view on the world. You see, I have this view on the world of we want to create like a good society that's kind of like on an upward trajectory that's advancing into the future. If you think of like
mm,
America, like with when they went to the moon, so if you want a society, a good
mm,
society, because I think all this degeneracy is destroying society, and so
mm.
we're not on that upward trajectory. So do you not think that like the average Joe like needs a set of rules to kind of give him guidance on how to live his life?
Man, to be honest with you, like I was saying this last in the video, yeah, like the reason why most things in your life are dictated, and this ties into the hard work and everything that I want to talk about, is because you don't have money. I don't know money is not religion and you shouldn't worship it, but the reason why everyone's like, oh, I have to listen to this guy and I have to do this, and my wife is telling me this, and oh, my parents are telling me this, is because you don't have fucking money. You don't have a purpose, you don't have money. If you had a purpose and money, like which everyone should, probably about 15-20% of people in the whole world have probably purpose and have enough money to fund what they actually want to do. Probably less if you factor in the money aspect. But it's like, bro, if you had money, I wouldn't be fucking listening to anybody. I'd have my own house bought and paid for. I'd tell my chick to come on over when the fuck I want. You know what I'm saying? Like you would dictate everything, but because 99% of people like probably like 90% of people don't have like a lot of money or like enough money to like fund what the, everything they do, like have a chill lifestyle, go on holidays whenever they want, do whatever they want. Like money, they have to take shit orders from other people. Like their life is dictated by bosses. It's just complete shit show, man. Life isn't free. Like at a certain point, like I'm dictated by money. Like I can't just post YouTube videos that are crazy because then I'll get taken down. Like I don't personally like posting like crazy content all the time. I'd love to post whatever I want to say, but I like music and stuff that's not too controversial. But like at the end of the day, I am dictated. Everyone at some point, their parents, their boss, you're dictated by something. Like the police, like if you don't follow rules, like if you had all the money in the world, if everyone had all the money,
dude, why can you not speak your opinion? Because you're worried you might lose your job.
Yeah.
Why exactly. You worried you might lose your job?
Yeah.
You wanted money. So this, I think, this is what takes people up, because you have guys like Steve who will say, and I don't actually want to talk about Steve. It's other people that say. No, because it's not even Steve that says this, but it's other people that say, "Oh, Andrew is promoting like this materialistic vision and just chasing money and chasing cars." But what they need to understand is that in order to be a man, you want to be free, you want to be able to speak your mind, you want to be able to do what you want to do, and therefore you need money. So it's not about material. I don't give a shit about material.
Yeah, me neither. Dude, we don't care.
What I want, but listen, what I want is for nobody to be able to tell me shit, right? Exactly. That's what a man wants.
Facts.
But they've made that impossible. And you know what I think they've done? I think the elites have destroyed the families of the peasantry, and I'd consider all peasants pretty much. They've destroyed the family, because when you think about it, back like in the 1960s in America, for example, you could have a guy that just leaves high school, gets a job in a factory or something, and he's able to have a wife that stays home, raises the kids, and he's able to support her, and he's able to own a house. So it's possible to fulfill this kind of natural role. Nowadays, in a situation where both the men and women are working, and then they still don't have enough money because inflation is high and houses are high, so they still can't afford houses. And then because both aren't working, they're having less kids. And then let me talk now about another thing. The fact that you have all these women actually do really well in the workforce, because in things like HR and stuff, like women do really well at these jobs. So you have loads of these high earning women, right? But as we know, women are hypergamous, right? They like to date guys higher status than them, right? So you have these kind of high status women with these HR jobs and stuff. And I think it was JP Morgan or some bank came out with some massive study there because they want to give investors advice on what to invest in, and was basically saying that like a huge percent of women are going to be childless and single when they're like 50. And so in the West, we just don't have any children. And if we don't have any children, then we import foreign cultures and our culture changes. And anyways, they're super, this is what I was saying earlier. Like, I mean, this is why, I don't
even care about culture like that. It's so crazy. Like, I don't even give a fuck about culture like that. Like, I know people like, it's just like, because like I see it.
But would you want to live in as an Islamic country, for example?
Yeah. That's just the thing. Like they try to bring in like Sharia law into like England, and obviously, I don't.
No, but I'm just asking you because I don't have anything against Muslims or anything. But I'm just asking you, would you like to live in a Muslim country?
I did live in a Muslim country for like 6 years of my life, and it was class. To be fair, it was good. It was good fun, but probably
So then you would like to.
Well, so I mean.
You would like to live in a religious.
Well, me personally, I don't think I'd mind too much. Like, I don't drink that much. Like, if there was no drink or like drugs in this country, I wouldn't care. I don't do drugs. I don't really drink that much, so it wouldn't really affect me if I could go to the gym whenever I wanted to. Unless it was like unless they brought in rules like, women had to like, do up their stuff, and people weren't as free as they wanted to be. Like, it's kind of like some of the stuff that there is downfalls to it, but it's like. At least like they have more of a moral compass, I think, than a lot of Western places anyway. More of a at the very least they have more of a logical consistency than most Western countries, I would argue. But would you like to live in a Muslim place or something like that?
Personally, I wouldn't like to live in a Muslim place, but I think it's better to be an atheist or to be agnostic in a Christian or in a religious country, because I think the average person needs religion. And what you were talking about, nowadays we have all these people who have basically substituted religion for different ideologies, like
Facts,
wokeism, for
facts.
example.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. Facts, facts,
well,
facts.
let me talk about this for a second, because
Yeah.
you've got things like wokeism, you've got feminism, you've got environmentalism, you've got all these different things. What
That's
do
true.
all the people, you've got Marxists as well, there's loads of Marxists. What do all these people have in common?
None of them are religious.
They're atheists, right? They're atheists.
Yeah.
So they've replaced their religion with these different religions. But here's the problem. When we all believed in the same religion, even if it was wrong, at least we were all on the same page. Now what we're gonna have a splintered society. We're gonna have a certain percentage of the society that are Christian. We're gonna have a certain percentage that are going to be Muslim. We're gonna have a certain percentage that are going to be woke, that are going to be feminists. And now you see the feminists are fighting with the LGBT, and you have all these different groups now, and there's just going to be endless conflict in the West. And as far as I'm concerned, I think this is a divide and conquer tactic done by the elites. I think Tate talked about this as well. Divide and conquer. Pit the blacks against the white, the men against women, the straights against the gays. We're constantly fighting each other in our own country. Meanwhile, we're getting fucked. As well as I just talked about, you can't even have a family now because you need two parents working just to afford to even have a chance getting a house. So we're getting fucked, but we're too distracted with this divide and conquer shit that the elites put on us to even do anything about it, really. And we can never join together as a group and fight them now because they've divided us up so much.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yeah,
what
for
do you
sure. For sure.
even
having like when people say like, oh, borders and this kind of thing, like I feel like when people say
what's
like,
your opinion on borders, actually?
Dude, me personally, I have Jesse Ventura's opinion. I actually don't even think there should be borders, which is crazy take. Because like if you ask me, like I can't go to America, I can't go to Canada if I want to go immigrate there. I can't, right? It's just not gonna happen unless I get like a green card lottery that you can win, right? Or unless like you're from like a war-torn place, right? So like I can't go to these places. Why should other people be able to come here? And that's kind of like not my take, but my take is like I don't think there should be any borders. Everyone can just go free wherever they want to go. Like I think that would end a lot of like bullshit, because then what would happen is the problems would be right on your doorstep. So like not like if you had like a war-torn country like freaking Afghanistan, that problem would be everybody's problem. Then everyone would be like, oh shit, we have to solve this problem. So like people would come together more and they'd be like, oh, let's solve this problem. Whereas you just like split up your country. Oh, America's over there, they're safe, they're on their own, they have their own problems. Ireland's a little island. Nobody else is allowed to come here. We're on an island. Like it's like you're so like divided from the rest of the world, which I know like we can't
but do you not think like people are quite tribal in nature? We tend to like join up into groups that are similar to each other. So even if you look at multicultural societies like England, like if you look at a city like London, you will still have all these different groups that stick together within London. So are you in favor of something like multiculturalism,
Dude,
like let's say a London?
In America, they don't really have that. They do to a certain point, but everyone's like
American. But let's talk about London, for example. Would you be like London, do that kind of culture?
Dude, London is not. I hate fucking like London and England is just like a disaster because nobody there can see each other as friends. Everyone hates each other. The stabbing is like that's not a good culture whatsoever because people are so divided there.
Okay.
It's like a crazy.
So USA then. Would you be in favor of multiculturalism in a different country like the USA or something? Do you
Dude,
think it's
the USA is like it's almost like a melting pot. There's like blacks and Asians, like although they do like there's only certain places where those people are. Like those places are starting to become mixed, and like even in New York, like my friend was always saying, there's like a melting pot. You'd have like a black and Asian person, or like a white and Asian person, or like whatever crazy like different like Middle Eastern person with like a black, whatever the case may be. And like that does work very well because everyone's like very like patriotic, like, oh America, America, America. Whereas like here in Ireland, like well actually in Ireland that would work because Irish people.
I completely disagree with you on that.
Do you not think people want to be American there? Like it's very patriotic. It's one of the most patriotic countries ever.
No, I think it's the exact opposite. I think if you look at America, there's this constant division. There's blacks against whites. There's gays against straights. As I was saying, all these different groups are constantly fighting with each other. You basically have the Democratic Party is like the party of black people, and the Republican Party is like the party of white people. So there's this clear split between the races. There's constant racial tension. There's constant things. And when you think of a country, I think in order to have a country, you need people to feel unified. You need them to feel like they're part of the same team. Like we're all Irish, you know, we're at the end of the day, we're all Irish. And so if you can have as many, if you can have as many unifying factors as possible, like, so let's say like we're all the same religion, for example, we all speak the same language, we all have the same flag in our house. That's what America used to be kind of like. But nowadays in America, you have some people who love the flag, other people who hate it. You have some people who love the anthem. You have other people who hate the anthem. You have the blacks, the whites hate the flag. Everyone's just divided and fighting each other.
That's less of a racial thing, more of a what's the word? That's more of like a social, like left-wing people saying, "Oh, we hate America now." That's more of a corruption from, like, I would argue, like, left-wing people, and also like poverty, people not having money. That's kind of more of like we don't have money, and also like we want to be like really liberal and like have all these different things. That's more of like that kind of, they're trying to divide it. Whereas I think if you ask, like, or if you see like even the American army, it's so like diverse. There's like every race in it. Whereas like in Ireland, like all the police here are just like white guys. Like there's no like, and whereas in England, it's more like divide. It's more like there's more like racism.
Yeah, but
it isn't
when you're not like but do you not think, like, when you look at America and you have things like Black Lives Matter, where you literally had like race riots for like 6 months, like the country is so divided along racial lines. Ireland doesn't have that problem at the moment because like we're majority white, and like we don't have like Black Lives Matter movements and stuff like. So do you not think that like has created a massive division in the country?
Dude, I don't personally think so. I think that because there was a lot of like fucked up shit. Like that guy killed a guy on camera, like whether he was gonna die or not, the whole George Floyd thing. Like he like got convicted of killing a guy, right? So like a jury of whoever convicted this guy, right? And like then like they had like these riots because like the police were they're just so like, you know, some of the issues are so like divide, like the police aren't like well trained and like well funded and stuff like that. So like then you had to have these riots, which obviously, you know, weren't probably perpetrated by like the people that, you know, they always start off as like peaceful protests, and then like some people like take hold of them and like trying to like hijack the protests almost, and then
they were completely hijacked.
Like, you know, like it's just like the message was kind of right. Like I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with like, oh, this George Floyd guy was a bad guy, so like he deserves to die. Like, dude, even if that's the case, I mean, I don't think that, man. I think it was so good. But like aside from that, they were saying about the like if you think that that's the case, do you think that like it would just be better that there's just everyone just to their own country and like everyone just no immigration's allowed?
Well, before I answer that, I want to say to George Floyd thing. If that happened in Ireland and it was like a white cop killed a white guy, it would be a big issue still. But because it was in America and it was a black guy killed by a white cop, it became a racial thing, and there was this added level of tension in terms of the racial element to it. And then you asked, do I believe that there should be no immigration or anything? What I believe is, well, first of all, in the case of America, I think America is a black and white and Indian country. Like that country belongs to three of those people because basically the whites beat the Indians in the war, the blacks were slaves, but they've all been there together for hundreds of years, so the country belongs to all of them. So the idea that you're going to like get rid of any group, like that's not even in the question. So that's in the case of America. In the case of other countries, I think like you don't necessarily need to have 100% white country or 100% black country or 100% this, that, and the other, but I think you do need a core majority. Otherwise you just end up in a situation where everyone believes different things and there's just constant conflict. And we need, what I was trying to say earlier, we need as many unifying factors as possible. So like because humans are tribal, which they just are. Like, it's like that's just how it is. Humans are tribal. They're tribal in nature. Like, you see an Irish person in an airport, it's like, oh, he's an Irish person, fellow Irish person. Do you know what I mean? Like, you
Like,
know they're Irish.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't. There's no such thing as an American. It's just like a person that you see. I personally kind of like I think that anyone can come to an area. Like, I actually don't care about immigration whatsoever. I actually like it. I know you may not be for it completely, but I 100% agree. You have to be like if I go to America, you're American. If I go to China, I'm becoming a China person after 5-10 years. If I have to adopt their customs. Like, you can't be coming to Ireland and fucking doing all that crazy shit that you did back home. Like, you were Irish. When you come here, you don't say, oh, I'm from this place. Like, my mom's half Czech. Your mom is German, right? Or my mom's Czech, your mom's German. So we're only 50% both, right? We're only 50% Irish. Both of us. Right. We're mixed, right? We're technically technically, right? Like, we're not fully like 100% like, I don't know, Celtic Irish.
And do you know what? Do you know the way they always say, like, mixed race people, like black and white, sometimes they have identity issues.
Yeah, that's literally me and you.
We feel like we have that.
Dude, we have massive. Let's be honest, we have massive identity issues.
Because I don't fully feel Irish, but I'm not fully German either. So I have the same identity crisis as like a mixed race person. It's funny in that way. But yeah, go on.
Like, to be honest with you, just on the last point there, like, the way we're mixed and shit like that, like, we don't come here and be like, oh, like, fucking, like, by the way, like, this is how we do it in Slovakia. This is how we do it in Germany. People would just laugh at your ass. Like, if you're like, oh, by the way, in Germany, we do this. They're like, yo, fuck Germany. Like, all right, that's fair enough. Like, I don't go around saying like, I don't know, does your mom celebrate Germany Independence Day or whatever? I doubt she does. When I speak to your mom, she has like an Irish accent. My mom has like an Irish accent. You know what I mean? Although, like, you can tell they're not 100%, like, whether it may be like their race or whatever. Like, but like, you're allowed, you should be Irish, like, under that, like American, you can be whatever color, whatever religion, whatever, and you're American, you're Irish, right? But like, just, you have to adopt the Irish customs. That's my only thing. That's my only thing. And like, I don't really care about the thing about culture as well. Is weird, man. We were saying this the last day. I don't think personally there is culture. Like, even in Ireland, man, what culture do we have? You tell me the culture we have, like. Because I went to the show.
I think we do. I think we do have a culture though, because like, even when I was like from Morocco. No, but there's a way people behave and stuff. Because even when I was over in Morocco, the way they behave is just so different. Like, Irish are. But here's what I wanted to say to what you said there. I'd actually completely agree with you. I think the real failure, multiculturalism, the idea that we can have a society where we can have all different types of cultures living alongside each other. Because if you have a society where you have one culture is Muslim and one is Christian and one is woke and one is this and one is that and one is Nigerian and then it just ends conflict. But if you want to have a system where you have immigrants come in, but they want to fully become Irish and they have the Irish flag,
dude. Like,
I mean, bro, Ireland and stuff. But that's why I say you need unifying factors. You need you need as many different things as possible to where people can say, this person is the same as me. This is a fellow Irishman.
I agree.
So let me flesh out this point completely. So what I'm trying to say is, like, so you could have a black person. So he's black, he's not white, right? But he flies an Irish flag in his house. He speaks with an Irish accent. He supports the Irish football team. He hangs out with the Irish guys. He's Christian, and this is a Christian country, we'll say. And so he has all these factors that make him similar to us. So we're like, okay, he's a fellow Irishman, right? Even though he's black, right? So I think that's a system that can work. But when you have a multicultural system where everyone wants to keep their own culture, and it's like, well, no, I'm Muslim and this is how I behave. No, we shouldn't be like that. We should be like how Qatar is now with the World Cup, where it's like, if you come to our country, then you respect our culture and you follow our rules. And tolerance is only a virtue if it's met with tolerance on the other side. And in the West, we just roll over and let other people completely disrespect our culture and our way of doing things.
Yeah, dude, I agree 100%. Like, I'm personally a very respectful guy. I know you are as well. If like when we were living in Abu Dhabi and shit, I respected Ramadan. So like there was Ramadan once a year for a month. I didn't eat. Well, it's funny because like obviously if you're white in those countries, if you're Christian, you don't have to abide by them. But I still abided by it because we were living there. I remember 6 years old. I was hiding in my dad's car, maybe like having a little snack because I was starving. I remember just being like really kid and like hiding while we were eating and shit. That's respectful. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna go out in public and fucking like you're licking on a fucking soft scoop cone. You know what I mean? Like, you know, licking away on this freaking, you know, on the 99, talking about, oh, fuck your religion. Like, dude, I am respectful as fuck. Like, you know, but I don't think everyone is that respectful like that. And honestly, you know, there is an argument to be made, like, if you don't really care about the you know, the customs or whatever. Like in Ireland, that's what I'm saying, Murph, man. In Ireland, bro, there is no customs. How would you know you're? You tell me how you know you're in Ireland. You tell me,
That's
because
because
we don't even fly flags, bro. We don't even fly flags. When I was
that's
in
because
Canada,
all Western societies have been fundamentally corrupted and destroyed. But let me speak to that because like I was talking with my mother there about, you know, the Qatari issue with the LGBT flags, where the Qataris don't want people putting the LGBT and they don't want to find LGBT flags. And
right.
I'm like, I'm actually more tolerant than you faux tolerant liberals because I'm not a liberal. I'm more tolerant because I'm like, this is
I know you're
their
not.
country. I'm like, I'm like, I'm like, this is their country. This is Qatar. This is their country. This is their customs. This is their way of thinking. You don't have some objective, like 100% correct view on what is the correct way to live your life. Like that's their culture. So when you're in their country, you respect their culture.
For
But
sure,
that should go both ways. When people come to our countries, then they should respect our culture.
yeah.
And the idea that I would go to a country like Japan or a country like Saudi Arabia or any of these different places, and I'm going to not follow their culture, I think it's completely insane. I don't understand why in the West we don't enforce our culture and say,
I will
no,
say,
this is you're welcome to come here, but follow the rules of the West.
I will say one thing, like I actually switched now. I actually would prefer to live in Ireland rather than like Eastern Europe. I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. Bro, they're like straight up Nazis. They're like, whenever I would do anything, people would shout at me in the street. Now, obviously, that would make me conform to their thing, but I just didn't feel as free as I
Like
do
all
here. Dude, just like, bro, like I would like put my foot up on the bus, and the people would shout at me. I would like sit down on on a park on a bench on a ledge, and guys would come up to me, hey, get off the like, dude, just pure Nazis. And then the police would come up to me with big guns, and they'd be like, and I was like, I had my arm like rested on a restaurant. I was waiting for my mom to go to the bathroom. I had my arm just resting like this, just chilling. And the guy went with a big gun, and he pushed my arm off. And like, I'm not a pussy guy. I'm telling you, I grew up in Eastern Europe. Like, I don't give a fuck, bro. I'm not kind of a little bit more hardcore than a lot of Irish people. And I was like, bro, what the I was like, whatever. I'm not fighting with a guy with this M16. But it's just in Prague and Slovakia, like last time, every time I go, like I get shouted at all the time. Yeah, every time I go to, it's just, I think not that it's bad. It just feels like very unfree. That's me.
I've always heard that
Eastern Europe. Though.
I think it's more free in a different sense. It's free in the sense that like I can speak
I get you.
Opinion on mine.
Yeah, I'm not going to get facts. No, I agree with you. I agree with you for sure.
But these are patriarchal societies. We live in a complete matriarchal society. Tate was talking about this last week. That like as a man, like what power do you even have? If you're married to a woman, she can leave you at any moment, take half your money, take your kids. You don't even have control over your own kids. And here's the other thing. This is what Tate was saying as well, in that when we have the mother and the father working and the traditional family structure is broken down, who's raising the kids? The school's raising the kids. And the fucking schools are teaching the kids fucked up shit. But
it's kind of weird when I feel like in Ireland it's such a weird place because like we don't even have like immigration like that, and people are freaking out. And it's like, I don't, like I said, man, I actually like immigration. I'm so for people coming in, but you have to, somewhat, you know what I mean? Like Ireland,
bro,
you just hate fucking Ireland. Like,
Here's the thing. You like it at the moment, but look at London. If there's too many people too
Right,
quickly,
right,
and
right.
there isn't time for people to integrate and feel like they're part of the same team, it just leads to chaos and violence.
Yeah.
It also depends on the type of people that you're letting in. If you're letting
Mm.
in some person from some war-torn country, like
Yeah.
obviously they're not just going to immediately blend into like some
Yeah, yeah.
Western office
Mm.
job kind of thing
No, for sure.
situation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of a crazy one. Like I feel like people now get worked up on issues that are just like so like not even that big of a freaking deal. Like when it comes to like oh you know like immigration and stuff. Like I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with letting people in, but like definitely you know if you just like absolutely fucking hate on like even my friends the last day, my friend was checking me the last day he was like, Chris, man, you gotta chill out with that American stuff. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Actually, I should be like more Irish and stuff. You know, in person, because I was saying like American slang words and shit. And I was like, yeah, that's like you're almost like if you like live on the internet, you're almost getting like indoctrinated into like the American kind of shit. And like they just don't give up. Like I said, man, they don't care about culture. They're trying to make everyone cultureless and just literally be like, oh,
But you don't think that's a
more
bad
money.
thing? You see,
I just
because you're has to back in, you're like a subversive, you know?
yeah, that's yeah. It's no, but like I just want money, man. I don't even give a fuck about culture. I'm just like fuck culture. Why would I give a fuck about your
Well,
culture? You know what I mean?
let me ask you a different question. Let me ask this.
Yeah.
Well, how do you determine what's right and wrong to do in life? How do you determine what's moral and what's immoral? Like,
Dude,
why is
like
it wrong to murder? And things like that? Why is it wrong to steal?
yeah, that's a good one. Like
Where do you derive that from?
I'm a philosopher, Murphy. If you haven't known, you know what I'm saying. I'm an Aristotelian. I'm
All
a
right,
plate.
that's why I'm going into it.
I'm a man of
So answer
philosophy.
the question. From where do you derive the determination that to murder someone is wrong, to steal from someone is wrong,
You
to do
mean
this, that,
morally?
or the other?
You mean morally, not like the law? Because I would just say the law, right? You mean like
Yeah,
morally?
morally. For you as the
Yeah,
person, like
yeah,
when you do something, you know it's bad, right?
yeah,
If I steal from my friend, I know it's bad.
yeah. Right, right.
Where do you get that from?
Because obviously, like I said, like I would just say law, but we're talking about morals here. A lot of
But no
people,
one laws. It's not
we need
about
to, yeah,
laws.
we need to,
There's no laws.
Murphy, we need to explain that to people because people are very like not smart when they listen to podcasts. Okay, they're just like, oh, the law. What I would get my is probably from, you know, seeing like my friends and you know wanting people to do better. I almost feel like that, you know, that people should do right because I want to live in a society where like people are all treated very nicely. Like, you know, I want to live like in a community which we live in the same hometown that like people, you know, that people are treated nicely. People are community led and stuff like that. More so than like, you know, anything. Like even if you're poor and you live in a community, like it's still kind of better than living in somewhere that's war torn and like have money, that kind of thing. My morals would come from, yeah, I mean, it's more of a just wanting people to do good. Like I actually don't like now as I get older, I actually don't like seeing like just like blatant like laws getting broken. Like when I see like I was saying to Steve the last day, this is crazy. I'll give you a crazy take here. This is Chris County Gaines take. You know, when I see a guy in America and he reaches for a cop's gun or he goes to like assault a cop or like goes or like kill somebody, let's say, right? I think that they should get everything. I think that they should get thrown in jail and never be allowed out. Because in my head, I have never thought I'm gonna assault this person, I'm gonna steal this cop gun or taser or pepper spray and assault someone else. I've never my whole life said I'm gonna randomly attack this fucking person just because I'm pissed off at the world. Like never. I'm 27 years old. I've never thought that. No matter how angry I get, all right. No matter how angry I get, I was always like, okay. That's not like a moral compass here. I'm just saying like that's how I felt. So I was like, oh, if I see that, I think that you should just go to jail forever. I don't think this should be killed per se, but like if that happens to you, then fuck you. You know what I mean? Like you've gotten a chance,
Yeah.
and that's to be good. And if you disobey that, bro, fuck you. You go to jail forever, 120 years. Everyone 100. If you steal, if you obviously, you know, minor crimes. So I'm saying if you like want to assault someone or like try and kill someone, any crime that you do, you know what I mean? That happens to you. Like it's just like stealing
So
cops' guns and this is crazy shit. Like
so
I think
basically your morality comes from the idea that you want to create a good society for everyone.
yeah, pretty much
Um
like I would say that.
and when you make a decision on what you're going to do, do you think about it, or is it kind of instinctual? Like, so
Yeah,
when you want to determine if something's good or bad, is it instinctual? Is it taught to you? Do you have you thought of it in the
yeah.
past?
It's
Or
obviously
how do you make?
it's obviously instinctual to a point, but definitely if you're like, let's say like
Because
let's
I'm
say
coming to my argument on God here.
for
You
sure,
see,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
for
building up.
sure. If you're like drink driving and you're like, oh man, I could kill people tonight, or something crazy like that, or like let's say some like illegal act. Like let's say you're doing something like, yeah, or, oh, I'm gonna rob this place and I might actually stab this guy while I'm robbing the place. Like you understand the consequences there. So like you do think about it then, but just everyday life, you wouldn't really think about, oh, me posting a video and some guy says, hey, I actually really enjoyed this. You actually made my day a lot better. You don't really think about that. You're just like, oh, you're just posting because you want to gain money. You're not really thinking about other people per se. Like deep down, everyone's like, oh, I want to help people. And I like good society, but I want to have money. Like, do you know what I mean? And like, let's be honest, like if it wasn't for law, I think a lot of people, and I know what you're getting at, would be like, fuck the law, man. Morality's bollocks. Like, I'm just going to rob, steal, and kill.
But do you think if there was no laws, people would just go around killing each other and robbing each other? Because I don't think they
Dude,
would.
no, no, for sure. People make that argument. I don't like that's a good philosophy. That's
Not
philosophy
in
101.
Ireland, man, I don't think they would.
For sure.
But here's
There,
but here
there are some
here's
places
where
that don't
I
have
think,
laws. There are some places that don't have laws, and that doesn't happen. So
yeah, and things still work fine. And those are
yeah,
usually religious places, right?
yeah, right, probably.
And they're usually Muslims as well, mind you.
Mm, mm,
Because people, but here's the thing. I think our morality and our determination of what's the correct and incorrect thing to comes where I think it comes from is basic evolution and from natural selection. Do you kind of know how
mm.
natural selection works?
Yeah, yeah,
So if you have a trait that's more favorable to your survival,
yeah.
then over the long term, that trait will survive at. So let's say you have one horse that is faster than another horse, then that horse is more likely to run away from the lion and more likely to have
Mm.
kids. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
over
right.
time, the trait of speed is built into
Ah,
the horse. And the horses
yeah.
get faster and faster and
Even
faster.
though even though
So
they're
this is
not
kind of,
trying to, yeah, they're not trying to. They're
yeah.
not trying to
So
be
basically,
faster. Like,
so basically, here's a way to look at it. It's like you have a competition, a football game, for example, and each round you eliminate the worst players. And then you keep doing that until eventually you just have the best players. So that's kind of natural selection. It like the attributes that allow you to survive, they are more likely to survive, and over a long enough period of time, they develop in that particular direction, right? You kind of get what I'm trying to say
for
with
sure, yeah.
natural selection.
Yep.
So when it comes to something like murdering an innocent person, I
Mm,
think that is something that was weeded out of the natural selection process.
mm,
Because if we want to have an organized, coherent society where we can function and we can trust people and stuff, we
mm.
can't just have people randomly murdering people.
Yeah, for sure,
So
for sure.
that but people with an inclination to randomly murder people, they were unsuccessful. They didn't
Mm,
survive the selection process as well.
yeah.
And over time, you have this intuition built into you where it's
Mm,
like, it's wrong to murder someone. I know it's wrong to murder someone. No one has to tell me that. No one has to teach me that. I don't have to
mm,
think about that. I intuitively know that. And that
mm,
comes from that natural selection process, right?
hmm.
So you kind of follow everything that I'm saying.
Absolutely. Crystal clear, sir.
Okay, so then here's the other thing. So then you have to ask yourself, so what created the universe and what created existence itself and what created time and what created the laws of physics and what created all these things? It was something, right?
Mm,
Like they say the Big Bang created the universe, but even if we take that as the Big Bang created the universe, that still doesn't explain, was there existence there before the Big Bang? What
yeah.
caused the Big Bang to happen? Why were the laws of physics the exact way they are? But ultimately, the point is, we have this infinite number of variables, infinite
Mm,
number of variables at play, and then this creates a situation where we have an Earth and we have a sun and the
mm,
possibility for life to happen, and we have this natural selection process that goes along billions of years and that builds into us this intuition and this natural morality and also this way of behaving. So if you look at an animal, animals behave in particular ways, right? Think about your cat. Your
mm,
cat, It sleeps all day, it licks itself, it gets up, it goes out at night, it hunts, it behaves in a particular way. This comes from this evolution process, right? So I think there's a correct way for humans to behave the same way with every other animal. And I think that there's an objective inbuilt morality that comes from our evolution. And I think all of this comes from whatever created existence and the universe and placed all these different variables into the position that they are.
I watched that movie.
And so
I watched that movie.
What movie?
What's it called again? I forgot the name. I watched it a few months ago. It's about the Big Bang Theory and all that stuff. It's called. It's on YouTube.
Series.
Huh?
Series.
Yeah. No, it's just a movie. Like, it's called.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie. It's a really good movie though. But yeah, I forgot the name. But yeah, it's crazy. That's actually it's true. Like, yeah, it's true. So you think for that reason that religion exists?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that religion was basically people observed human nature. They observed civilizations. They probably observed the collapse of the Roman Empire and stuff. And they come up with these stories.
Yeah,
and the stories represent. So basically,
yeah, I agree. That's good.
Think about it like this. We'll get into this. Think about it like this. So you have a story like Babylon. They say, do you know the city of Babylon that God destroyed? They were doing all this hedonistic shit in Babylon, and then the city was destroyed. What I think that is I think people observed the collapse of an empire. They observed all the behaviors that were happening that led to the collapse of the empire. They put those in this Babylon. They said the people of Babylon were doing all these behaviors, and then God destroyed the city. So it's a story that basically allows a simple person to understand, don't behave this way, or your society will collapse.
Right. That's a really good point. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. That's probably what religion should be, right? I mean, it is that, right? I agree with that, but like that's what it probably should be as well.
We're about to end now. We have less than a minute.
We'll do another 40.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, targeting groups of people for certain things is just completely bananas. Like I feel like you're obviously not gonna represent the entire group. It's so funny because like even I remember just talking about philosophy in the beginning. I remember we were talking about philosophy. Like I used to say to the guys, oh, if these people take steroids or if these people do drugs, like am I gonna do drugs just because I hang around them? And every single person, Murphy, every single person I asked in college said 100% categorically, yes, you're going to do the same thing. So like, that's why they lump people into groups. Like they're like, if you're hanging out with this drug dealer, you're going to become a drug dealer. If you hang around with this guy who's overweight, they've done studies. They said, if your partner is overweight, you will 100% become overweight as well. No, I'm just kidding. 100%. It's like a 99% or 90% or some shit. Like that you'll become overweight. If your family, one person, your family's overweight, it's like a cancer cell. Then everyone else is going to become overweight as well. If you do illegal acts, if you do this crazy shit, then you're gonna immediately do the other crazy shit. I'm like, guys, I've never been like influenced ever. I hung around with drug dealers and major people and people that that do crazy shit, like, and I've never done anything like that. So it just doesn't.
Well, let me ask
whatsoever.
Let me ask you, like when you have like a white cop that kills a black guy, why does the media frame it as the white cop kills the black cop? They use the group, right?
Right. I think that's the media. They're fucked up. They've been saying that like black people commit more crime. If you Google the amount of crime in America, white people commit like 5 times the crime. Like I know like proportionate wise, maybe not, but like they literally, in terms of the population, it's like, bro, they're just basically running these because they want the divide, man. They want that divide of people. They're like, oh, you can't be friends with that person. Like it's just, bro. I remember. This is some fucked up shit. I love my friends. I don't want to say names, stuff like that. But let's just say they're a different race, right? I love my friends that are different races. And we were in town before, back when we were in college. And these guys were like, oh, it's so weird that you guys are friends. Like, dead ass, like. And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? And they're like, oh, And I was like, I don't know. Like, what do you mean? And like, people in Ireland, like, some people are just so, like, racist. They don't even understand how you can hang out with other people, like, that are different races, different religions. Like it's great, bro.
That's the tribalism, man. That's built into people from an evolutionary point of view. Because you have to consider, most of human history, like
Mm,
you were in a tribe with a group of people that were like almost identical to you. You
mm,
know, people live in small little groups. So like that's
right.
tribal, that's built in.
Mm.
You can't get away from that.
It's
But
just
like,
crazy though.
but
Like, I
yeah,
just don't.
it's the media that does it. The media creates the divide. And I
Mm.
want to ask you this question. Do you think the media does this from a point of view of making money? They're like, if we just post controversial shit, we'll make money? Or do you think there's some higher ups with an agenda, like, let's divide and conquer, set these people against each other, have the plebs fighting amongst each other, and
Oh,
then we can
I'd
do the
say
fuckery that we do?
definitely the latter. Like the not the money, the divide. Like it has to be because
Yeah,
really.
because half these people, half the companies that are doing this, like CNN and stuff, are losing money and are failing,
Mm,
and they
that's
continue.
crazy. That's actually crazy. Yeah, I
Yeah,
should say that. That's wild. Like I think these media companies are really weird. Like we never were like meant to like know. I have a major quarrel with like the news and stuff, and I always argue with Steve about it. Because I watch all these podcasts about how to make millions and millionaires. Every single millionaire says they don't watch the news. The news divides. But I have one amazing point here that I wanted to say, and like the news, man. Like we shouldn't. Jesse Ventura talks about this. Like we shouldn't know about if you're on the West Coast of America, you shouldn't be even know about murders that are happening in the East Coast and stuff. Like they try and push this news. Like we shouldn't know about stuff that's like murders and stuff that's happening in England and America and all this crazy shit. Like we shouldn't know about any of that stuff. Like why are you telling us?
yeah.
Because it's almost like creating like people like paranoia and like fueling people's fucking just crazy shit. It's like constant. Oh, death, murder, destruction, death, murder,
Because,
destruction, and then
because the
they want
media
you to watch that all day.
bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit, man. Fuck
The
that.
media is like bullshit. They just want to like spread the negative stuff, like get reactions out of people, but it's just
Yeah,
ultimately negative for society. But
facts.
like, I mean, what can you do about that at the end of the day? Um,
That's why they do. That's why they don't like. Let's keep it 100% real. That's why they don't want Alex Jones. They don't want these
that's why
people
I don't
because,
like Rumble.
huh?
The Rumble
But
is the
yeah,
great threat.
dude, they don't want us. They don't want me doing YouTube videos. They don't want people doing these platforms are
Yeah,
getting too big because then it interferes with like their narrative. Oh yeah, we'll pretend like let's sprinkle and give them some money and give these creators millions and pretend they're rich. Like when in reality they're worth like trillions and shit. It's just like, bro, it's like
yeah.
it's
You know what's
nowhere near
funny?
the
Like
same level.
people will like call like people like maybe you and me conspiracy theorists and stuff. When the fact is, all throughout history, people have tried to control the plebs, the
Mm,
majority of the population. So like they're obviously trying to control us. They want to have control over the narrative.
mm,
Most of history, they had the news channels, CNN and Fox and all that, and they could control the narrative that way. Then they
mm,
had YouTube, and YouTube was they lost control for a second because now they had regular people who could speak and who could say things that
mm,
go against the narrative. But now, after the 2016 election, when Trump got elected, they
mm,
shut all that down. You know, the algorithms changed, the censorship
mm,
started coming in, and now we have Elon buying Twitter and he's trying to bring back free speech, and we have
mm.
Rumble. But look what they're trying to do to Elon now. There's lawsuits against Elon.
Yeah,
They're
why is that?
attacking
That's crazy.
because it's all about narrative control. The
Mm,
elites want to control the majority of the information that the
mm,
players get, and they do because when you think about it, where do you get your information from? Google. The algorithms are controlled. YouTube. The algorithms are controlled. The news. It's
mm.
all controlled. They're controlling the narrative. So that's why I think something
Yeah,
like Rumble, like Twitter under Elon, it's a massive threat to them. And to Tate is definitely right on that.
for sure.
And
I actually,
I'm gonna Rumble.
I, I, uh, I made 50 cents off Rumble so far. I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty good. Like,
Yeah, it's hard to grow on Rumble. If you have like a subscriber base on YouTube, you can
mm,
bring them over, but at the moment it's hard to grow on Rumble.
yeah, like I just need to get my subscribers bigger on YouTube to transfer over to Rumble. But Rumble's it's definitely going to be the future for sure. Like, especially if
But
they get more
it
advertisers and
depends on
stuff.
how much further they go with the censorship. Because like if they start
Mm.
censoring people like I Show Speed and stuff,
Oh
and then
man.
he starts moving to and do you know what the really clever thing that or that fucking Tate did was he networked a lot. Like he went out to guys like Aiden Ross, Tanel, to
Mm,
all these different things. Steve will do it. So now you have all these big names that know about Rumble, and like if all these
Yeah,
people start to like, and you saw Fresh and Fit they merged their channel, and they're getting hundreds of thousands of views on Rumble now.
yeah, it's crazy,
So
bro. It's
I
crazy.
mean,
Like, I don't know why Nelk. Every channel that Nelk has is demonetized. So like, why don't they just go to Rumble? Like, they'd make loads of money. Like, I don't really understand that.
I think they will, because YouTube is clearly, as Tate says, a part of the matrix. They want to control the narrative. They want to
Mm,
control what people believe. And like, I know you're a YouTuber, and I wish you success and make it and all that. But like, if you want to speak freely about issues,
for
like
sure,
even stuff we're
dude, for
saying in
sure.
this interview, you would want to censor a few of the words that we've used,
Mm.
like words like
Ah,
Hitler and
that's
stuff.
right.
You
Yeah,
can't say shit.
to be honest with you, like I don't really like mind too much. Like if they've never like demonetized any of the videos for me saying anything,
You're just not
Prob
big enough. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. Like, but even like I think you have to get like millions upon millions. At that point, it's like you'll have enough money to be like free for life anyway. Like so they're just like, oh, then we'll cancel them. They just get these massive people like Tate. They get these huge people and they cancel them because they already have enough money forever, right? So they don't even care if they get censored. So the rest of the people are like, oh, he has money, it's fine. But in reality, like eventually, 100%. I think it'll take another 10, 15, 20 years, but on these platforms, like you won't be able to say anything. It'll just be like control, control. If you say anything, you're gone. Like I actually think that like it's not like that now yet, just yet. It is with the big
bro, the
people.
shift is happening. This is what
Yeah.
I really think Rumble has potential. Like, people are
Let
sick of the censorship. Like, we saw it during COVID.
Angela.
Like, everything was censored.
Yeah,
You
for
couldn't
sure.
speak about anything. You couldn't use the
Yeah, it's
fucking
true.
word COVID. In
Yeah,
fact, they no, they just changed the terms and conditions. You can use it now. But
yeah.
if you, as Tate said, if you censor one side of the argument, then it inevitably leads to tyranny, because no one is ever 100% correct. You need that back and forth of the
Yeah.
discussion, and
No,
YouTube
for
would take.
sure, dude, for sure. Like everyone, bro, people have lost their shit. It's like they're so sensitive. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they said that Versatile, these the biggest rappers in Ireland, they were like trying to censor them for like saying like controversial stuff like Eminem and stuff. And it's just like, bro, it's like you're trying to censor like artistic expression. It's so lame. Like I would never look at YouTubers and be like, or rappers or whatever, musicians, like whatever people that did art and be like, oh my God, that's offensive. Like never, bro. I'd be like, oh, that's shit. Let me click off this video. I don't give a fuck what other people are doing. I care about me, and this is the problem. It's all losers, man, that dictate because it's like the majority losers. Oh, let me cancel this guy's video. It's like, bro, if you were
Yeah.
focusing on your own shit,
You
like
know,
you wouldn't be caring about
you know what?
anything.
You know what the worst part of it is? If you're like a guy with a successful job and hobbies and all this
Mm,
stuff, you're not
yeah,
focused on this shit. It's the
facts,
chronically online, like
facts.
creepy, weird dudes
Tell
that
them.
have the time to fucking put the effort of cancel this. That was the Daz Black pants that came after Tate. These chronically online losers. And you know what's really happened? This has been the shift in society. And Tate
Mm.
said this, and man, me and Tate just agree on so much. He was like, back in the day, the betas, because you had to speak in person, they just shut
Mm,
their mouth. But nowadays, all these people that are mass reporting on Facebook and on
facts,
YouTube and
losers,
shit, these are people
losers.
that wouldn't even speak, wouldn't even like complain in a fucking restaurant if the order was incorrect. Like, they're
Dude,
cowards,
facts.
but they're able to speak now because they have the internet.
Facts. They were saying that Versatile when they were on tour and like, dude, Versatile aren't controversial at all. If you watch any American rapper, most of my rappers, Stunner for Vegas, Moneybag Yo, these guys, they do such crazy shit. They have like chicks in their videos half naked, they have guns, they have all this crazy shit. It's not half as compared. Like the Versatile guys aren't half as controversial, but for some reason here they were trying to get them all canceled. It's like, dude, what?
Who's
I
trying to
would
get them canceled though?
like all these like media they said critics like legit like Irish music critics were trying to get them canceled, like loads of them, and they said they would confront them in real life. They'd say, yo, what's up with what you said online? What's up with what you said online? And literally they were always like every single one. He said we went up to like 10, a lot of people, different people, because they just walk around Dublin, they're all around Dublin. They went up to them, they're like, what's up with that? And they were like, the critics were like, oh no, we actually love what you're doing, that was like 4 or 5 years ago. Like, bro, what you just flip a 180 to just pussies, man. Like this is straight up how it is.
Do you know what I actually
Unbelievable.
love about? to what I love about Trump and Tate and actually Kanye. I know you don't like Kanye, but it's
Oh,
the
here we
fact
go.
that
The
they're
three.
unapologetic.
That's the holy ghost. The tree. The tree really.
Yeah,
What are they called?
man,
The
it's
right wing,
trifecta.
the right wing conspiracy theory circle. Go on.
But it's not even about the movie and right ring. It's the fact that they're unapologetic. Like I'm so sick of this society where we have to apologize for everything. Like, do you remember? I was just talking about this last night. Do you know the girls that were singing the IRA song
Oh,
and
bro,
they made them
that's
apologize?
weak.
Like
That's just reaching, bro. It's just like,
why do people have to apologize for everything? I like people like fuck you. I ain't apologizing.
yeah,
Like we need
dude.
some
If
people with a fucking backbone.
I'd say the British people like, do you guys know what the fuck you guys did to us? Like, fuck you. Like, I wouldn't give a dude. That's not happening, bro. It's no apology because we're singing songs. And shit. It's artistic expression again, bro. It shouldn't even need to be explained. If you don't feel good about the art, then just don't listen to it. I'm like, fuck that shit. It's boring. Like,
Who gives a fuck? Anyways, where did this offensive culture come from? Do you know what's funny?
yeah,
Like
it's
in
so fucking
like
stupid. Like,
in the 80s and the 90s and stuff, you had like these really Christian conservatives that were like trying to censor Eminem. Do you remember when he was like
mm,
coming out with all this
that's what I'm.
controversial shit?
Yeah,
And they were trying to censor it. And now it's flipped the other way around. It's all these like liberals that are like,
bro.
oh, you can't say that because that's offensive, that's racist, that's
Facts.
sexist, that's like how is that it's completely shifted
180s. Yeah,
all the way around.
and now I almost feel, bro. It's so crazy. Now I almost feel like it's a lot of like conservative people that are getting offended now. Do you feel like that, or do you think it's totally left wing people? I think because even the friends I used to have a few years ago, they were so offended by like, oh, Eminem, and now they're like, oh, we don't think rap music should be a thing. They're like against rap music. They're against all these things. I'm like, bro, what happened? Like, I thought you guys were like conservative, like for like, it's almost like they're against like things that don't like match up with their like. And then they're like, oh, I don't think women should sleep around. Why don't you think women should sleep around? Oh, because you don't get any? Yeah, because you don't get any, whereas the rest of us are having fun with it. No, I'm being dead ass. Like, what do you think, Murph? That's how it is.
But do you not think there's a negative to women sleeping
My
around?
girl's twerking over here. Huh? Like,
Do you
no,
not
there,
think there's
there,
a negative
there
to women
definitely is. There
sleeping
definitely is. But like, if that's the way people want to carry on, and I'm not. I'm just to
so
me.
you
I'm just
think
like.
now it's the so
I'm
do you
just
think
more.
it's the conservatives or the liberals that are the
Yeah,
censoring ones or just
bro. Like, I don't
both
even
now?
know. Bro, it's almost like both now. Do you not feel that? I feel like if women want to sleep, or if they
Yeah.
want abortion, if they want this, it's like, oh, the right wing people don't want this, but then the left wing people, like the guys I was hanging out with, were like, no, rap music's bad, it incites violence. I'm like, well, movies incite violence, video games incite violence, cartoons incite violence. Like, which one is it? It's almost gone like now. Everyone's gone. That's like no free speech for anyone. Like the right wing and conservative used to be for free speech. Now it's like nobody free speech. Do you feel like that? I'm just like, bro, I'm free speech. Like, you can do what the fuck you want.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Don't interfere with me. I'll just do my own shit, YouTube videos, and just
I
fucking
see what you
whatever.
mean.
Do you know, like it's so
But
fucking weird,
do
bro.
you
It's
know,
fucking weird.
what I
Like,
think it is? I think when the economics of a society start to get bad and the economics of our society have gotten
mm,
very, very, very bad, you can
mm,
look at the metrics of that. I think, and there's a lot of chaos and stuff. I think both sides get radicalized, and
yeah,
the right are like all this stuff are degenerate. This is the reason why our society is falling apart, and the
mm,
left are like, oh, this is dangerous because now there's the racism, wokeism, and
yeah, yeah.
there is a sense of creeping up on the right. And even if you look at like the Kanye thing, like the right wing people were saying the same stuff that the left wing people were saying, like
Exactly, exactly. It's the same thing.
against Kanye. They're like,
Yep.
oh, this is racist. It's like usually the right wing people get called racist when they make a
Mm,
comment.
yeah,
It's right wing people call Kanye racist when he makes a comment.
exactly, exactly.
So
So
yeah,
yeah. No,
see
I
what you
agree. I
mean.
agree. So like, are they for free speech? Are they for that anti-Semitic, or are they not? Like, you know?
I think there's a certain element of people who say they're for free speech and they want to gain power, and then once they're in power, they want to implement their version of the world.
Facts.
And then there are the people who genuinely do believe in free speech.
Mm,
And I would consider myself someone who genuinely does believe in free speech
yeah,
because when
me
I
too.
was younger and it was pushed down my throat, I was the biggest anti-Christian there was.
Mm,
Now, when it's shoved down my throat, I'm the biggest anti-woke, anti-LGBT guy. So I'm always going to be the guy that's pushing back against whoever's pushing down my throat. I want to be able to speak. I'm a man. I want to have my own opinions. There's no one above me who can tell me what I can and can think or say.
Yeah.
And I think that's a male trait as well. That's a high testosterone trait. If you have this we want to get really controversial. Now that we
But
have like this
what were you gonna
matriarch,
say about what were you gonna say about the LGBT thing? You're not for that kind of like development of but is that not their free speech though? Like,
guitar
you get me?
for guitar.
No, just in
Are
general,
we
like
talking?
LGBT, just in general, like
Oh no, 100% LGBT should have the free speech to say
right,
whatever they
right, right,
want.
right, right, right,
My
right.
problem, yeah, my problem with the LGBT is a couple of things. First of all, it's a political agenda. It's
Mm,
it's so if that's more in relation to the guitar thing. But if you
mm.
look at the transgenderism thing, the fact that you have people like Leah Thomas competing against women and
Yeah,
destroying women's
it's
sport,
crazy. It's
that's
crazy
unfair.
shit.
So the transgender thing. The other thing as well is if you look in America and stuff, they transition kids when they're like 15 years old
Yeah,
and
dude, that's so
sterilize
weird.
the kid so that
Dude,
the
they do
kids
that.
never have a child future. Imagine a 15-year-old making up that mind. So
Dude, they
that's
forget
my
15. They
kind
do
of
it
my
at like
next.
6 years old. They do it at 6 years old.
Yeah.
It's fucking just
Well, no, they do
weirdos,
they do
bro.
the surgery, they do the surgeries at 15 so that you can no longer reproduce. Can you
It's
imagine that?
crazy.
Imagine making a decision at 15 when you don't have a clue what the fuck is going on in the world. And it turns out, oh wait, actually now you can't reproduce because you had a vasectomy or you had your dick chopped off or something.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy.
that's what I'm again. But it's just the fact that it's shoved down your throat again. It's in the
Yeah, yeah.
schools in America trying to insert all this LGBT into the schools. They're trying to put into soccer. And this was the other thing I was saying about with soccer. Soccer should be something where it's this universal event where we can all come
Mm,
together and watch matches and the entire world can unite. And even though there's a rivalry because we support different teams, we can all come together and unite. But when you start inserting political symbols like LGBT, like Black Lives Matter, symbols that half the population disagree with that are extremely
mm,
contentious, you turn it into a divisive thing where now half the people can no longer enjoy it. And this is just another tactic by the elites to divide and conquer. They're
mm,
taking away something that we all used to enjoy and they're making it political. And now half the people, because now if you watch it and you see all the LGBT banners and everything, you have to think of the transgender swimmer, you have to think of the
mm.
vasectomies, and you're like, I don't support this. I just want to watch a fucking football match. Do you know
Right,
what I
right,
mean?
right. No, it makes sense. Football and sports is almost been like a place where people can come together and compete without fighting and killing each other in wars.
Yeah.
Like,
But
you
that's
know.
what the elites are trying to do. They're trying to insert politics into everything that the
Mm,
players enjoy.
mm. Yeah, it's actually crazy, man. You've made some really good topics today. I won't hold you up for too long. I might just leave it there, man. That was probably the best talk we've ever done. We'll have another one very, very soon, and we'll have Steve.
Bro, we're
I'll,
so gonna get cancelled.
nah, it's what you think. That wasn't that bad.
Bro.
I didn't say anything bad there. We didn't. You didn't say anything bad, did you? I'm
Bro,
just a
we
very
used the
laid
word
back
hit.
guy. Hitler, that's fine, man. You love Hitler, dude. If we just troll each other,
Wow. Disavow, disavow.
but like even we'll have Steve
I
on. We'll
might
have
type my face though.
yeah, it's real nice, man. That's a nice room, mate. We'll have Steve and Connor on as well, man. Soon. More right wing conspiracy theory chat. No, I'm just kidding. That's what Steve.
Well,
That's
I
what
wouldn't
Steve
even
calls.
necessarily consider myself right wing because I mean there's a lot of right like left wing issues that I agree
Oh,
with
dude,
and there's a lot of
for
right
sure. Yeah,
that I
I'm just
disagree.
joking, bro. You gotta think we're anyway.
Well,
That's just crazy. Steve's a
here's the other
lecturer in
thing.
college. Sure, Steve loves that stuff.
Here's the other thing. There is a correlation between your level of testosterone and whether you're right wing or left wing. If you have higher testosterone, that's just a fact.
That's
That's
so
a
funny.
fact.
Yeah.
That's why
Jesus.
women are left wing. Women and soy boys are left wing, and guys with high testosterone are right wing.
That's gas. We'll leave it on that note. We'll leave it on a high note. All right, Murph, man. I love you, bro. We'll come back very soon. Like I said, we'll have Steve on and we'll have Connor on as well because Connor will be class, but that'll be savage. We can really delve into what he's about. All right, man.
Barring
Like, comment,
matches.
yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. I'll see you in the next one, man.